welcome back to The Saloon. I'm your team reporter, Briana Jeannel, joining you for a special breaking news edition of The Saloon. Today, I'm sitting down with 49ers insiders, Carlos and Jesus. Thank you guys for joining me today. We are breaking down the initial 49ers 53-man roster. Now, keep in mind, this is initial. There are some moves to come in very soon days with practice squad, injury updates, so things are going to be shuffled around a bit. But let's dive into what we've got on hand today. Starting with the quarterbacks, Brock Purdy and Mac Jones will lead the 49ers this season. Purdy coming off a 5-year extension, Mac Jones joining us in free agency. Jesus, what do you think about this quarterback duo?
I think it looks very solid because obviously you have in Purdy, you have, in my opinion, one of the top 10 quarterbacks in the NFL. He's been doing an amazing job during training camp, and he's proven that he's a great quarterback to lead a franchise. And in Mac Jones, you have a very good backup. I mean, from the get-go in training camp, he started having a really good camp. So I think the quarterback room looks amazing to me.
Awesome. Now, moving on to the backfield, Christian McCaffrey is fully healthy and ready to dominate again, joined by Isaac Guerendo, Brian Robinson Jr., Jordan James, veteran fullback Kyle Juszczyk. Robinson Jr. joins us from the Washington Commanders, now here in the Bay. Carlos, what do you think of this RB group? Do you think they're a top-tier rushing group in the league?
Oh, absolutely. And I think the first and most important move was being able to sign again Kyle Juszczyk, right? Like after he was released, he was able to come back. There's able to strike a deal because he's being an integral part of what Kyle Shanahan wants of that running game. And then obviously having CMC back, full health, one of the top running backs in the league, and being able to now be supported by Brian Robinson Jr., which is also a dual threat. He's a really good and physical running back, and he can also catch passes. And then anchored by two really young running backs also with Isaac Guerendo. That we already saw what he can do last year when he was able to step up for Christian McCaffrey, and Jordan James is a rookie with a lot of upgrade in his game. So I think it's a really good group, and just having those two at the top with CMC and Brian Robinson is going to be really exciting.
Yeah, it was fun to hear him after his first practice out here in Santa Clara and how he said him and Christian, they want to be the best running back duo in the league. So let's hopefully get that started this season. Now, moving on to wide receivers, they include Juwan Jennings, Ricky Pearsall, Jordan Watkins, Sky Moore, and Jacob Cowing. Brandon Ayuk and Demarcus Robinson will be delayed for their start. Jesus, with Ayuk out to start the season, who do you think really needs to step up for this group?
Obviously, I think Ricky Pearsall already shown that this year he's been amazing during training camp, during that preseason game against the Raiders. With that series, we saw him that connection with Brock Purdy. So I think now that the team has injuries in that wide receiver group, Ricky Pearsall is one of those guys who is already stepping up to the challenge. And obviously you have young guys like Jordan Watkins, who obviously Kyle Shanahan, he said that he was going to miss about a month with that high ankle sprain. So we don't know yet if he's going to be available for that week 1 game against Seattle. But once he comes back, I think he's also another young guy you can trust to help the 49ers while you recover another guys like, for example, like Brandon Ayuk or those type of guys with more experience.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's really looking forward to see that and how it unfolds in week 1 against Seattle. Now, moving a little bit closer to that line of scrimmage, looking at the tight ends and offensive line, that tight end group, of course, anchored by the people's tight end, George Kittle, along with Luke Farrell and Jake Tonjes. Kittle remains the cornerstone there. The offensive line is anchored by 11-time Pro Bowler Trent Williams, veteran center Jake Brendel, rising rookies like Connor Colby and Drew Moss, joining veterans like Colton McKivitz, Spencer Burford, and Ben Barch. Now, Carlos, how important is this mix of leadership, but also some new faces in the fold?
I think you needed it, right? For a couple of years, I think at least on the offensive line, is probably one of the things that there was a question mark in a sense. So you needed help, and especially because for at least last season and the season prior, when you had an injury, you were scrambling, right? Like that's why they also, I feel they're carrying more players in the trenches than ever before. At least while Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch been on top of this group or in charge of this group, they definitely needed to anchor that, and they were like, we need more bodies, we need more people. And the fact that they were able to, get some really good rookies and younger players to be able to help those ones that have been established, it's a sense that it gives you some peace. It gives you some peace of mind that regardless of what happened, and you need to have the next man up, you'll be able to take care of one of the young players.
Awesome. Let's switch to the other side of the ball. Looking first at that defensive line. It was a huge point of emphasis throughout this offseason during the draft with Robert Saleh coming back to the Bay. On the D-line, we got Nick Bosa. He headlines that group, joined by Mykel Williams, that first-round pick, Bryce Huff, and a mix of rookies and veterans. Jesus, when you're taking a look at this D-line, who stands out to you?
Well, definitely. If you look at the young guys, I like the job CJ West did during camp. Unfortunately, he got injured towards the end of camp, and we didn't get to see him enough during the preseason. But I really like the job he did. Obviously, Mykel Williams also, he looked very good when he was out there in the first part of training camp. Also, because of injury, we didn't get to see him during the preseason games. But I think it was enough what we saw from him during practice to give me that confidence that I think he's gonna contribute a lot to the 49ers this year, and also with that ability that he has to be able to play on the outside or on the inside. So Chris Kucerek and Robert Saleh have different options there with him.
Yeah, Mykel definitely had a great camp. He gained a ton of praise from coaches, even fans in the stands, analysts. Everyone could pick up that he's a special player. Now, moving on to linebackers, they include Fred Warner, D. Winters, Nick Martin, Luke Gifford, and Tatum Bethune. Carlos, what are your thoughts? It's fun to see, our vet Fred on the list, but then, Nick Martin, he made a splash during the preseason. What excites you about this linebacker core?
Well, the fact that, and I think Fred talked about it, how he's taking on that role to be not just a leader, but a mentor to these players. And you see it on how they've grown. And I mean, obviously, Nick Martin is just brand new, and we saw his ability, especially in this last game. You saw how he can fly from left to right. He being able to shut down those plays on the slants and also out on the shallows. But you also have somebody like D. Winters who's coming back to the team after what the season that he had last year, but it's an improved version of himself, because once you spend that much time next to what's probably going to be a Hall of Famer, you also upgrade yourself. And when you're going to have those packages where you're going to need those three linebackers in there, when you're going to have all three positions covered when you're not on a nickel package, the fact that you can have that kind of player, they're all very versatile, they're very fast, they can shut down the run game, they can attack the flat, like that's a really nice group to have there.
Yeah, like you said, during camp, one of the biggest headlines was, D. Winters and Tatum Bethune growing alongside Fred Warner, and how big we were able to see their growth from, their years past into heading into this season. So really excited to see them perform up here in 2025. Now let's take a holistic look at the secondary: quarterbacks, defensive backs, safeties. They feature Diamador Lenore, Ciaran Neal, Renardo Green, Upton Stout, Jason Pinnock, Jair Brown, and more. Jesus, what stands out to you when you look at that secondary? Any maybe names I listed or maybe names I didn't list that you're excited to watch this year?
Well, obviously, I'm very excited in both the cornerbacks and the safeties, because, for example, you have a guy like Upton Stout, who also, again, like Mykel Williams with the defensive line, we didn't get to see him during the preseason games because he got injured, but he also showed enough during practice that he can be a guy that you place him in that nickel corner role, and he's gonna do well. I mean, a lot of his teammates have a lot of confidence in him, his coaches. So I really like Upton Stout, and also I really like that Renardo Green was able to come back towards the end of that for that last preseason game against the Chargers. And Renardo Green, even though he's just entering his second year in the league, you see a guy with a lot of confidence. He proved it last year when he had to face a guy like DK Metcalf when the 49ers went to Seattle, and he did a really good job. So he shows the kind of character, the confidence he has. And then on the safeties, I really like Mark Marquez Siegel. I think that guy stand out during the. He was able to shine during the preseason, so I really like him, and that's really good because remember at the beginning of training camps, the safety positions came with a lot of questions, more because of the injuries, like to Malik Mustafa, obviously the departure of Talanoa Hufanga in free agency. But now you have a guy with a lot of experience in Jason Pinnock, who also did well during training camp, and a rookie like Marquez Siegel, and you add guys like Jair Brown and Richie Grant. So now it looks well, and at least while Mustafa comes back.
Yeah, that group definitely looks rounded out. Now, to round out our entire 53-man roster, we've got kicker Jake Moody and Pro Bowl long snapper John Weeks to handle special teams. And so that's our initial 53-man roster for the 49ers 2025 season. Stick around as we can continue to cover this team as it evolves throughout the season. Jesus, Carlos, any final thoughts as we recap the initial 53-man roster?
No, I think we're really excited that the season's finally upon us. We've been waiting a long time to get it back, and also just a quick reminder that Jesus and I covered the team in Spanish. We're one of those teams that are fully bilingual and not trilingual, because you can also find our Arabic page with
that's right.
49ers Arab. So anything that you want to know about the team in Spanish, you can always catch us on 49ers ESPN. Everything that they need. We have our best reporter in the league.
I appreciate it. No, we are covered worldwide faithful 49ers ESP, 49ers UAE, and 49ers in English, as everyone knows. So, Jesus, Carlos, thank you so much for joining me on The Saloon today. Faithful, make sure to subscribe to The Saloon on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, SiriusXM, and everywhere you find your podcasts. Thanks for tuning in.